Give me a check one, check two.
Check one, check two.
Perfect. Alrighty. Here we go in 3, 2. Hang on. I almost missed it. Kate or Katie?
Katie.
Katie Berger.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Principal at York Elementary School.
Correct. You got it.
Fantastic. I always dive in too quickly and I'm like, hold on. I didn't confirm this.
You're good.
There was one interview that I did at what used to be Black Bart's.
Oh, yes.
We were there on location and I was interviewing the manager and he had told me his name and he told me his job. And then we get on air and it's gone. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm here with the guy running the place, finger guns.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, let the people know who you are. So I am terrible at that, and it's always right as I'm about to begin. So That's why I like doing these, so I can always edit all that out.
I get it.
All right, perfect. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Austin the Stache here, joined today by Katie Berger, the principal at York Elementary School. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. It's crazy time of the year with high school sports going on and election stuff and just everything is going on. Everyone's being pulled in different directions. But I have heard that you guys are doing something very fun at York Elementary School about this whole election cycle, giving the kids a chance to learn the voting process and what all goes into it. So tell me a little bit about what's going on at York Elementary.
Well, thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it. It is a crazy time, and you also throw Halloween in before our big election day. And that's always a big thing for elementary kids. So it's a busy time. A couple of months ago, we knew that we had a big election coming up here, and we always want to try to make that relevant for our students, and when you ask them who the president is, sometimes it's Mrs. Berger. Sometimes when
that's got to feel pretty good.
It goes to my head sometimes, right? Sometimes if Dr. Bartholomew comes in, it's like, ooh, is that the president?
It could be.
It could
be. Know.
And they don't have a connection to it, right? And that's very much age appropriate for them. So we have come up with this idea where we have put our 5th graders in charge of our school-wide election, and they have spent some time in their social studies class talking about what the election is, brainstorming how we can make that work at York Elementary School. So it's a really great introduction to them on democracy, voting, the importance of voting, all of those things. So they have decided that we're going to have a school-wide election on a popcorn party versus an extra recess.
Man, do I wish that we could have an election like that.
Don't we?
That sounds wonderful.
Yes. And, there's a couple of reasons we're doing that. Sometimes schools will do a school-wide election where it'll mimic like a presidential election, and they'll vote, and that's great. But our kindergarten students have no idea. Yep, right over their head. Right over their head. And so we wanted to make it something where everyone could participate and everyone could have a say, and then we can actually make it happen afterwards. Yeah. And so the popcorn party would take place in their classroom, right? And they could have an extra special event in their classroom, or they get that extra recess, and then we're kind of throwing a little extra on it and saying at Peyton Parker Lane Playground. And that is a very big deal that we use for a lot of rewards at York Elementary School. We're so lucky to have that close. And so that will be on the ballot. There's 2 different ballots, only because some kids can read and some kids can't.
Sure, makes sense.
And so we have a picture ballot and some word ballots, but we're really going to try to get the whole voting process in for kids. So this week they're going to watch a short video explaining what voting means and what they're going to be voting on. And then next Tuesday, as a class, they come up, they have to register to vote. And by registering to vote, they have to write their name on the piece of paper. So they'll write their name. They get to go to a voting booth. They go into the voting booth. They circle their choice. They come out. They put it in the ballot box. And then, of course, they're leaving with an I voted sticker.
Well, of course.
That's the best part of voting. And so we're going to do that, hopefully to teach them the importance of voting so that they understand that, and they have that value placed in it because they get the reward, and so then a couple weeks later, we'll either have that popcorn party or they'll schedule their extra recess. So we're really, really excited about it. At the end of the day, they will announce the winner before they all go home. And then our 5th graders will run the whole day. So they'll set up the voting booths. They'll count the ballots. They're actually even campaigning this week, doing a couple posters. And so they've even gotten to talk about campaigns and how campaigns can work. So it's going to be a really great day.
I can only imagine the ads that are like, popcorn sticks in your teeth, right? Like
that's so funny. That is one of the campaign posters.
Is it really?
It is.
Oh my gosh!
They were like, "Oh, we got to tell them the bad things about
the
popcorn."
bad things about popcorn.
Yes. And then recess. They're like, it might be cold.
It's
it
true.
might cold.
You never know.
Yes.
That's so funny that they came up with those kinds of things as well.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And I love the idea that it's something for the whole school to do because, when you talk about trying to talk about big topics like voting, like democracy, like that sort of stuff, how do you even start with, especially like, where am I going with this? Basically, every 4 years, there's this big election. That means that for kindergartners, this is their first time being experienced to it. And for third graders, this is their first time being exposed to it. How do you manage exposing kids to this super important thing?
Yeah. This school-wide election is a great stepping stone, but it's just one thing we do, It depends on the grade level, and I think that's a great approach for us. So in kindergarten, we might talk about, let's vote on what our favorite school lunch is, and the students, and then we can kind of ease into that. But for our fifth graders, we might show them a sample ballot. This is what a ballot looks like.
Gotcha.
And our fifth graders watch TV. They see ads. They know they see signs in yards. They know there's something going on. They clearly watch ads if they're telling people popcorn is bad,
yes,
right?
100%.
They get that how campaigning works right now. And so we really try to make sure that through our social studies curriculum, we're exposing students and also being relevant, because we'll talk about voting every year, but it doesn't mean the same thing until they know that it's happening nationwide every 4 years,
Sure.
And so we really try to capitalize on it in an election year.
And then, kind of this is more of a question coming from a parent standpoint. And, the public schools have gotten a bad rap over the last couple of years as being like agenda pushing.
Sure.
And I guess the question is, how do you handle talking about elections without all of the bias and kind of the meanness that comes with politics?
Yeah. One of the easiest ways for us to do that is to talk about the election and not talk about the specific candidates when appropriate, because kids go home and they hear what their parents think, and then they come, and whether, a lot of times they just agree with what they hear, because that's what I heard at home.
Yeah.
And so we always try to take it, okay, let's focus on what does it mean, right? What do the two parties, why do we have two parties? Why does one have an elephant, and just different things like that, and trying to help expose them, and then trying to apply it with something like this. And that's that popcorn versus recess, where they can actually see, oh, okay, so, maybe if we take an attack ad, for an example, that's one strategy. But we also could promote popcorn,
Sure.
and talking about just the different strategies. We allow students to come and say, oh, I like this, or I like this candidate, or I like this candidate. It's not that we don't talk about it, but when we're trying to teach the process, we're trying to make it relevant to them. Because I'm still not sure, I have fifth graders. I'm still not sure my fifth graders truly understand what it means to be president.
Totally. Yep, totally. I totally get where you're coming from with that. And there are a lot of people that are worried about that, and especially as more and more social media comes up. This is the worst time to be on social media.
Yes.
Whether it be good stories, bad stories, it's the worst time to be on it.
Yep.
And so to just kind of have that as the framework of, this is what we're doing. This is the election process. We're not telling you what to do. It's very nice to have that and kind of have that comfort as well. And so take me a little bit more into the fifth graders are running the show.
They are running the show.
Tell me more about what Tuesday is going to look like for the fifth graders and then for all the others.
Sure.
classes.
So a huge shout out to Mrs. Hoffman. Mrs. Hoffman is our fifth grade social studies teacher who has kind of taken this project and really run with it. So I can't take much credit for it, but she has set it all up. So they each have 1 hour of social studies on Tuesday. And so what's going to happen is for their hour, they're going to man the station. So this week they worked on a script for a video. We got that video created. They're working on campaigning and then getting set up for Tuesday. So this is all the prep work this week. And then on Tuesday, each 5th grade student will take 1 hour and they'll man the voting station. So some will be at the registration, some will be handing out the ballots, some will be by the ballot box showing kids where to do, and some obviously with the stickers. That will probably be the biggest hit of the
Hot
day.
commodity
It
job
will be.
right there.
It will be.
You better have a really stacked resume if you're going to be handing out
the
stickers.
Yeah, that's a top job. That is a top job. And then they also, so they'll probably do that for about 40 minutes. And the last 20 minutes, they'll go count the ballots of that. And so they'll be able to kind of see throughout the day where it's leaning. We've had to talk to them about not influencing votes, you know, like
yes,
after we start counting ballots, we can't influence. And that's how we'll do the paper. You know, we thought about, we could do an electronic ballot, but it'd be cool for kids to be able to see and count it. So they'll get that experience too.
Very nice. I love the idea of there's like one kid that's a journalist that's trying to sneak in and being like, so what's the count at? Where can we, can we have an official statement, please? Popcorn versus recess. What's happening? Oh goodness. Well, fantastic. I know that, you know, there's a lot going on with York Elementary, not just with the York Elementary election, but with the general election as well. The bond issue, of course. If people have questions about that in particular, where's some good resources for them?
I would head to our website right now. Our website has bond information, and then there's a whole bond website. The one thing we did add is if you missed any of our presentations that we gave, we recorded our presentation and got that put on the website. And so that's on the website. And if they have questions, they're always welcome to call the school as well.
100%. So there you go. Be informed, and I hope that the students are informed.
Me too.
As well as possible on this hot button topic of popcorn versus recess. Personally, I think I'm voting popcorn in this one.
You know, that's what I go, but recess at a different playground, that's a big ticket item too. So we'll see.
The ability to travel and get out there, it really is a nice platform to stand on, you know, to get out of the school.
It'll be a tight race.
I'm sure it will be. Principal Katie Berger, thanks so much for hanging out with me today.
Thanks for having me.